Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we are talking about how I rate my books. So I have gotten several of questions over the years about my rating system. I did do a how I rate my books video in I think about 2020, and I don't think much has changed, so I thought I would give you an example of each star with a book that I gave that star rating and kind of explain why I came to that star rating. 5 stars. I give this to truly exceptional books that I would recommend, books that pulled some sort of emotional response for me, or books that I could not imagine being any more perfect. So an example of my most recent 5-star is The Highwayman by Kerrigan Byrne. This one is deeply emotional. It handles trauma very well. The writing is just bar none. It's exceptional. It's lyrical and beautiful without being overly purple. It has the exact amount of relationship growth that I am looking for in a romance. It has the characters who explore their traumas through their relationships and learn how to work through those issues together and better themselves in the relationship and individually. It to me is one of the most perfect romances, so it couldn't get anything less than a 5-star. So next up is the 4-star. Now these are books that are very good. They are above average. They have some elements that I'm looking for, but they don't quite have that 5-star spark. Maybe the writing isn't quite up to par, but most of the time the reason that I give books 4 stars in regards to romance is because the relationship isn't quite as developed as I would like it to be before that HEA or HFN happens. So a perfect example of this is Waking Olivia. This is my most recent 4-star read, and this one is very emotional. It is dealing with a lot of trauma from the heroine, and they have this sort of forbidden back and forth relationship. There is some cheating in here, so it's a setup for a book that I should absolutely love. It has a lot of angst and forbiddenness. However, we spent way too much time in the heroine's head and not enough time developing the relationship in a believable way. So by the end of the book, I didn't quite believe the HEA that was given. If we had had maybe a little bit longer, maybe we spent a little bit less time in other elements of the book, then I would have felt like the relationship was developed enough for me to believe that they would work long term. All right, so next up is 3 stars. So these are the very middling books. These are the books that had okay relationships, okay plots, not particularly memorable, but they're not bad. So I have 2 perfect examples of kind of my range with 3 stars. So we have Promises and Pomegranates, which is a Hades and Persephone romance, Hades and Persephone retelling, and I cannot tell you a single thing about this plot. I don't remember anything about the hero. I don't remember their relationship. I couldn't tell you a single distinguishing feature for either of our main characters. I couldn't tell you how they get together, what any of their sex scenes are like, anything like that, and that is a 3-star for me. I might have enjoyed it when I read it, but now I read so much that middling books just aren't something that keep my attention for very long. And then another example of a 3-star read is The Girl Next Door. This is a horror book. It is a fictionalized recounting of the Sylvia Likens case, and this book is so good. And it's gonna sound weird because I gave it a 3-star, but I was so viscerally uncomfortable, and the bad kind of uncomfortable for me reading this, that I didn't know whether to give it 2 stars or whether to give it 5 stars. This is so well done. This is the story, this follows a boy who was involved in the torturing of Sylvia Likens. This is a very heartbreaking case, and this tells it through a lens of innocent bystander who is a victim turned into a perpetrator, someone who was complicit in the cycle of abuse. And it's very hard to read. The writing is so detailed, so descriptive, so good that it's hard to read. And the way that I'm describing it, you would think that it was a 5-star, but I wanted to stop reading it. And I read horror to be uncomfortable, to be pushed out of my comfort zone, but this was too much. Like, this is the kind of uncomfortability that I don't enjoy, that I don't read horror for. It's very well done. It should be a 5-star, but me as a person, this is a 3-star. I settled on a 3-star because it's a 5-star book, but my reaction to it and how I felt about it was like a 2-star. So I settled at a 3-star, and that's kind of the range with my 3 stars. So next up is 2 stars. So this is kind of where people get a little bit confused with my ratings, because I give 2 stars to bad books. The most recent 2-star that I gave was What He Doesn't Know. This is like a perfect example of a 2-star book to me. It's bad because I don't like the contents in it. The relationship with the guy in her past is not well developed. The relationship feels very weird and one-sided, and ultimately she ends up killing her own pet in the end of the book, which is an immediate no for me. Like, I already had a lot of issues with the book itself, but that was the last straw for me. I cannot do that. Like, this is not a horror book, and I see nobody talk about the fact that she killed her bird. So 2 stars are books that I did not like. I found no redeeming qualities with the book itself, the contents within the book itself. And then my 1 stars are for books that either have harmful content that need to be removed or addressed, or I have an issue with the author themselves. And I don't often go back and go to books that I have read and give them 1 star if I've found out who the author is as a person. I will just avoid their works going forward. I gave a 1 star to Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Rainbow Rowell has some not great issues going on just in general with her other books, but in particular, I stated my 1-star reason for, aside from the questionable comments on race, scoffing at an important topic such as fetishization of gay men, and just generally uncomfortable comments on gay relationships, I couldn't get past the juvenile writing, the one-dimensional characters in a character-based book, or the poorly written mental health conversations. This is like a perfect example of a 1-star for me. It has harmful content, and also it's just a bad book. Those are how I rate my books. Let me know down in the comments any questions that you have. If you want me to delve more into how I rate something or what a particular star means, please let me know. If you don't have anything to say, leave a star emoji down in the comments. If you are looking for more content from me, you can follow my Instagram and my podcast Instagram. You can follow my podcast on all your streaming platforms. And thanks so much for watching. I will catch you guys in my next one.